Hello and good evening, our beloved viewers. You're watching on Live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. Here are the major stories. At the Presidential Palace, the head of state shared the 19th Council of Ministers, a decisive turning point. The financial security Djibouti strengthened its financial shield against illicit circuits. For the international scene in Morocco, culture and ambition, Morocco secure an African platform. Those were the headlines. Thanks for joining us in our newsroom. It was this morning under the chairmanship of the President of the Republic and Head of Government. The 19th session of the Council of Ministers was held this Tuesday. The following texts were examined and approved. For more detail with our colleague Mohamed Aden.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sous la présidence de son Excellence M. Ismaël Omar Guelleh, président de la République, chef du gouvernement, a eu lieu ce mardi 16 décembre 2025 la 19e séance du Conseil des ministres. Ont été examinés et approuvés les textes suivants. Première question, ministère de l'économie et des finances, chargé de l'industrie. Projet de loi portant adoption des comptes financiers du Fonds de garantie de Djibouti pour l'exercice 2024.
Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of Industry. The first question, draft law adopting the financial statement of the Djibouti Guarantee Fund, the FOGAT, for the 2024 financial year. The financial statement of FOGAT for the 2024 financial year show revenue of 72 millions and expenditure of 57 millions, resulting in a surplus of 14 million. The result for the year shows an increase plus 7.9 million, rising from 6.4 millions in 2023 to 14.3 millions in 2024. Revenue for the year amount to 72.2 millions, reflecting an increase of 2.2 millions linked to higher guarantee commission income. Revenue consists of guarantee commissions totaling of 6.1 millions and state subsidies amounting to 66.4 millions, which remains stable from one year to the next. Expenditure for the year amount to 57.9 million and consists mainly of personal expenses, which show a slight decrease, 1.9 million, falling from 44.1 million in 2023 to 42.1 million in 2024. Other operating expenses also declined 2.7 million, amounting to 14.3 million Djibouti franc in 2024, compared with 17.1 million in 2023. The Minister of Agriculture, Water and Fishery, Livestock and Marine Resources, the second interim draft law approving the financial statement of the National Water and Sanitation Offices of Djibouti, ONIAD, for the 2024 financial year. The financial statement of the National Water and Sanitation Office of Djibouti, ONIAD, for the 2024 financial year show revenue of 11 billions and expenditure of 11.4 billions, resulting in a net profit of 168 million. Turnover comprises water sales, sanitation services and works. It increased by 12.43% compared to the 2023 financial year, rising from 5.855 billions in 2023 to 6.5 billion in 2024. This growth is mainly explained by an increase in drinking water sales, as well as higher network maintenance fees and an increase in the number of meter rentals. The operating subsidies amount to 2.5 billion. The Ministry of Youth and Culture. The third question, draft law on the national cultural heritage of the Republic of Djibouti. This draft law related to the protection of the cultural heritage of the Republic of Djibouti, and it is part of a drive to strengthen and modernize the national legal framework dedicated to safeguarding cultural property, both tangible and intangible. This draft law constitutes a structured and timely response to the profound changes affecting the global cultural landscape, marked in particular by rapid globalization, the consideration of digital heritage, and the need to strengthen the institutional framework in order to better protect our heritage, which is increasingly at risk due to the growing number of attacks on cultural property and remains coveted by illicit trafficking networks. State Secretariat in charge of investment and private sector. The fourth question, draft law approving the financial statement of the National Investment Promotion Agency for the 2024 financial year. The financial statement of the ANP for the 2024 financial year show revenue of 173 million and expenditure of 192 million. Revenue for the year amounted to 173.4 million, down by 33.3 million compared with the 2023 206.8 million. They mainly derive from service fees amounting to 100.9 million and from the state subsidies totaling of 67.1 million, representing respective decrease of 19.7 million and 1.3 million. State Secretariat in charges of sports. The fifth question, draft law approving the financial statement of the National Agency for the Promotion of Sports for the 2023 and 2024 financial year. The financial statement of INPS for the 2023 financial year show revenue of 281 million and expenditure of 295 million. The 2023 financial year corresponds to the first few years of activity of INPS marked by the adoption of an opening balance sheet as of January 1st, 2023.
In the second part of the Council of Ministers, several draft degree and appointment was approved. For more detail with our colleague Mohamed Aden again.
Public. The sixth question, draft decree approving the provisional budget of the People's Palace for the 2026 financial year. The provisional budget for the People's Palace for the 2026 financial year is balanced with both revenue and expenditure set at 500 million. This budget represents an increase compared to 2025 plus 149.9 million, rising from 350.8 million in 2025 to 500.7 million in 2026. Projected revenue consists of income from the rental of halls and spaces, 80 million, and state subsidies of 261.8 million. Rental income shows a decrease of 9 million, while the state subsidies remains unchanged from the previous financial year. The seventh question, draft decree approving the 2026 provisional budget of the Djiboutian Office for Development of Geothermal Energy, ODEG. The provisional budget of ODEG for the 2026 financial year is balanced in both revenue and expenditure for a total amount of 1,329 million. Operating expenses amount to 495.09 million, including 377 million in personnel costs. Other operating expenses mainly include the purchases of 77.8 million, other services 14 million, and external services 24.6 million. The Minister of Health, the eighth question, draft decree approving and making enforceable the 2026 provisional budget for the University Hospital Center of Djibouti. The provisional budget of the Djibouti University Hospital Center in balance with revenue and expenditure amounting to 5,807 million. This budget records an increase of 406.5 million, rising from 5.4 billion in 2025 to 5.8 billion in 2026. The CHU revenue mainly consists of income from services provision amounting to 2.14 billion, as well as the state subsidies totaling of 3.65 billion. These subsidies notably include the contribution of CAM amounting to 431.5 million, projected operating expenditure amount to 5.05 billion, compared with the 4.47 billion in the previous financial year, and are composed of purchases of 1.275 billion, other external charges 715.8 million, exceptional expenses 20 million, and personal expenses 3.03 billion. the Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Property. The ninth question, draft decree approving the 2026 provisional budget of the Diwan of Zakat Property. The 2026 provisional budget of the Diwan of Waqf Property is set with a revenue of 724 million and expenditure of 723 million, resulting in a projected net surplus of 1.1 million. Revenue for the 2026 financial year amount to 724.4 million, an increase of 149.1 million compared with the 2024 financial year. The revenue of the Diwan Waqf Property mainly consists of rental income amounting to 273.9 million and fees related to cemetery, which reaches 450.5 million. Projected expenditure for the 2026 financial year amount to 723.3 million, recording an increase of 149.5 million compared with the previous year's budget, which stood at 573 million. These expenditures are divided between operating expenses amounting to 557.3 million and investment expenditure totaling of 160 million, including purchases 101.9 million, external charges 81.5 million, and other external services 33.7 million. Personnel expenses also increased by 30 million, reached 337 million in 2026 compared with 307 million in 2025. The Ministry of Energy in charge of natural resources, the 10 items. Draft decree approving the provisional budget of EDD, Electricity of Djibouti, for the 2026 financial year. The provisional budget of EDD for the 2026 financial year is set with a revenue of 40,102 million, an expenditure of 39.824 million, 39,824 million, resulting in a projected surplus of 277 million. Operating revenue are estimated at 38.6 billion compared with the 14.1 billion in 2025, representing a decrease of 1.5 billion. They mainly consist of electricity sales 31.8 billion, works and services 1.06 billion, other incomes 3.6 billion, as well as reversal of depreciation and provisions of 1.9 billion. Draft decree approving and making enforceable the provisional budget of the International Hydrocarbon Companies of Djibouti for the 2026 financial year. The provisional budget of SIHD for the 2026 financial year is set with the revenue of 46,990 million, an expenditure of 46,154 million, resulting in a projected surplus of 813 million. The projected results show an increase of 152.5 million, rising from 678.3 million in 2025 to 813.9 million in 2026. Projected revenue record a decrease of 11.3 billion, standing at 46.9 billion in 2026 compared with 58.3 billion in 2025. They mainly derive from the sale of petroleum product 44.6 billion, ancillary product 2.24 billion, and secondary product 55.1 million. The 12th question, draft decree on appointment. The following appointments are made: Mr. Abizid Hamad Ali and Mr. Guled Abdallah Abdullahi, Technical Advisor to the Prime Minister; Mr. Mustafa Yusuf Nuh, Technical Advisor to the Minister of National Education; Ms. Farhiya Ibrahim Musa, Technical Advisor to the Secretary of State in charge of Sport.
This morning, the late Ali Arif Burhan, who passed away yesterday at the age of 91, was taken first to the mosque today, where the funeral prayer janazah was performed. From the early hours, a large crowd composed of relatives, friends, and citizens gathered in profound solemnity to accompany the deceased and pay him their final respect. In accordance with the Muslim tradition, the atmosphere embodied with dignity and emotion testified to the respect and esteem in which the disease was held within Djiboutian society. Upon arrival at the cemetery, the burial took place in the presence of the government member, led by the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, and the President of National Assembly and numerous members of Parliament. The highest authorities of the country also participate in this ceremony alongside with the deceased's family, close friends, and a large crowd all gather in profound silence. The late Ali Arif Burhan will be remembered as a leading political figure during the period of French colonial administration. The late Ali Arif Burhan passed away after a long battle with illness, leaving behind the memory of a committed man deeply rooted in the nation's history.
ولا يروعاك فإنهما خلق من خلق الله عز وجل. وإذا سألاك عن ربك وعن نبيك وعن دينك فقل لهما بلسان طليق ذليق الله ربي ومحمد النبي والإسلام ديني والكعبة قبلتي. وعنه الفاتحة.
It was this morning the Minister of Economy and Finance, Ilyas Moussa Dewali, participated in the opening of the 17th replenishments meeting of the African Development Fund, known as ADF, in London, alongside with the ADF DP President and 4 other African ministers. The meeting concluded the ADF 17 replenishment process through a pledging session aimed at mobilizing substantial resources for low-income and fragile African countries. Djibouti's participation as a special guest underscore its commitment to African solidarity and its active role in addressing the continent's development challenges. The session finalized strategic and policy decision, confirmed partner contribution, and approved the ADF a framework highlighting Africa is a partner and leadership, but also to record the contribution from the member countries. It was yesterday at Kampaski Palace Hotel, the National Committee for Combating Money Laundering and Financing of Terrorism present the result of 2 years of work to reinforce Djibouti's financial framework. The meeting attended by the Minister of Interior, the President of the Supreme Court, the French Ambassador, and the Central Bank Governor, and key partners assess progress and reaffirm the country's commitment to protecting its financial system. Djibouti has strengthened its legal framework, clarified institutional responsibility, and built tools and training for field team in order to prevent risk, detect abuses, and also to act effectively. A national risk assignments now guides authorities in addressing vulnerabilities. International cooperation, particularly through the project evaluation, played a crucial role in this process. The meeting highlighted Djibouti's determination to clean up its financial environment and build confidence, but also actively engage in regional and global efforts against illicit financial flows. In their respective intervention, the President of the Supreme Court, Jama' Suleiman Ali, recalled the main objective of judicial law and said that judiciary plays a critical role in ensuring that the strictened financial regulations are effectively applied. Clear legal responsibilities and robust oversight mechanism now allows our institution to act decisively in preventing and sanctioning illicit financial activities. This measure, he said, reinforces confidence in the national financial system and contribute to the broader rule in law in Djibouti. For his part, the governor of Central Bank of Djibouti, Ahmed Ousmane, affirmed the central bank continues to support the national effort to strengthen financial oversight through improved monitoring tools and collaboration with both national and international partners. We can ensure that our financial institution operates within a secure and transparent framework. In his speech, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Said Ibn Hassan, explained that this comprehensive approach has involved reinforcing the legal and regulatory framework, clarifying institutional responsibility, and improving coordination among all relevant authorities. We have also invested in capacity building, equipping our file team with the necessary tools, methodologies, and specialized training to detect, prevent, and respond effectively to the financial abuses. A key milestone in this process has been the development of a national risk assignment, which allows us to identify vulnerabilities, adapt our strategies, and prioritize resources efficiency. This comprehensive work demonstrates Djibouti's unwavering commitment to safeguarding the integrity of its financial system, concluded the minister. Djibouti's statements on leadership for peace at the UN debate. In his speech, he said Djibouti wishes to express its profound gratitude. Let us listen to him.
At the outset, Djibouti appreciates Slovenia for convening this very critical debate on leadership for peace. It is a theme that refocuses member states and the organization to the raison d'etre of the United Nations as a multilateral institution. At moments of international fragmentation, it is leadership which determines where the peace advances or recedes. It is an important theme for Djibouti, nay Africa. It is an important theme for Africa in its struggle to reduce, if not end, conflicts on our continent. The legitimacy and continued relevance of the 21st century United Nations will be decided in Africa, with peacekeeping as both being a lifeline and at times a lesson on how to address emerging conflicts before degeneration into a full-blown war. The search for a renewed, effective multilateralism centered on a strengthened UN is not an abstract or just another intellectual exercise. For Africa especially, it is a matter of survival and dignity. For many communities, especially in Africa, peace is water, food, healthcare, relevant education, and jobs for livelihood away from banditry and terrorism. The next Secretary General of the United Nations must therefore be Africa's strategic partner in building a robust, interlinked peace. We need a leader who can rebuild trust, defend the Charter, promote fidelity to international law, and place dignity above political expediency. A bridge builder who is able to call different national and bloc interests at the United Nations along on many major contentious issues, in particular on the need to determine they continue with reforms at the UN, including reducing inefficiencies in order to do more with less on gender streaming, climate change, and an overall right-based development that reduces conflict within and among nations. Madam President, Djibouti would like to stress that a profile that could meet the above needs would not achieve much without the support of member states, in particular the United Nations Security Council, including the veto-wielding Permanent Five. Indeed, the Secretary General is as strong as UN member states want her or him to be. We must collectively resolve to end political paralysis at the Council because it has an unbearable cost on civilians in many theaters, including in Sudan, Gaza, and Haiti. Leadership for peace means enabling regional and sub-regional leaderships as deemed necessary. Djibouti, under the leadership of President Gele, who currently holds the presidency of IGAD, is fully aware that peace initiatives must be fully researched if they are to succeed. The African Union's peace and security architecture is proven, but perilously underfunded. The new Secretary General must champion the mandatory financing of AU-led peace operations through UN-assessed contributions. This is not aid. This is an investment in a more effective, legitimate multilateral system as envisioned in the Pact of the Future. Lastly, Djibouti would like to underscore the importance of mediation. In this regard, lessons from Djibouti's ATAP Somali peace process that led to the formation of the first governance framework since the collapse of the Somali state in 1991 are instructive. The next Secretary General must champion such inclusive, context-sensitive models that empower local actors. Djibouti stands ready to be supportive, including through the Arta Peace Institute. Madam President, to conclude, Africa is not merely a recipient of peace. We are vital architects of it. We need a partner in this endeavor, one who combines advocacy, bridge building, and a holistic vision of what it takes to have peace, to move the United Nations forward towards its centenary. Thank you for your attention.
Education now, the launch of the interclass phase 35 dictation competition. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training is proud to announce the launch of interclass phase of 35 international edition of dictation competition. This year's edition focuses on the theme information and communication technologies, and this involve 2,835 students from 5 and 6 grades across participating primary and middle school. The interclass phase conducted within each school aimed to identify the top performing students from the class phase. Beyond competition, it's encouraged mastery of French language, improving spelling, reading comprehension, and critical thinking while reinforcing classroom learning. Select students will advance to the inter-school phase, regional final, the national final, and ultimately the international final in Montreal. This competition not only celebrates academic excellence but also promote cultural exchange, collaboration, and mutual enrichment among young participants. All schools are engaged to actively their students in this enriching experience, fostering a love for French language and showcasing the emerging talent of Djibouti's youth.
And the language that they are be able to describe how they are talking, how they are participating, how they are feeling is very, very, very honor for us to participate.
The Naval Training Center of Djibouti and Kasagad hosted on Sunday, December 14, the closing ceremony of the Visit, Board Search and Seizure training program. The event was held in the presence of the commander of Djibouti and Kasagad and the commander of Italian base in Djibouti, marking the successful completion of a strategic training cycle aimed at strengthening maritime operational capabilities. Delivered by Italian instructors, this training benefited 17 officers from Rapid Intervention Unit of Djibouti and Kasagad. It enabled participants to acquire essential skills in maritime interception, vessel boarding, inspection, and security operation. The qualification obtained at the conclusion of the program represent both recognition of a trainee merits and mark confidence. It also commits them to consistently uphold the core values of vigilance, professionalism, cohesion, and operational mastery in the performance of their duties. As part of the project support the new Community Development Center CDC in Ali Adde, the Minister of Youth and Culture through the Regional Director in collaboration with the AGCD Association organized a training session for members of CDC Community Council. This training took place on 12 and 13 December at a new CDC in the town of Ali Adde in Ali Sabih region. This modern facility will be operational very soon, and it is a space dedicated to supervision, training, and development of young people as well as community development. The aim of this training was to better equip a community council member by strengthening their skills in order to ensure effective inclusion and sustainable management of the CDC. The involvement of the regional director of the Ministry of Youth and Culture reflect the ministry's desire to support newly established CDC in the interior region, which with a particular focus on training and ensure that they function effectively in the service of young people and local population.
And to share to our friends. So really, I would like to say thank you.
In Ali Sabih region, following several complaints from the shopkeepers in Ali Sabih region regarding circulation of counterfeit banknotes, an investigation was launched by Ali Sabih Brigade Police on 11 December 2025 at around 11 a.m. Based on information gathered, the main suspect was arrested. A body search led to the discovery of several counterfeit banknotes on various denominations. During question, the suspect admitted to the offenses and revealed the existence of an accomplice. The arrested individuals was taken into custody. Investigation led to the seizure of a total of 225,000 Djibouti franc in counterfeit banknotes in Al Sabih region. And now in Tajora region, especially the UNFD of Dora inaugurated the siege of UNFD. The Secretary General of UNFD, Ms. Fatuma Musa, inaugurated a community center at the request of Women's Association in Dora concerning the renovation of their headquarters. 5 sewing machines and a well mile were donated to the women of Dora UNFD to enable them to improve their daily lives through the income generated while contributing to the well-being of their community in responding and finding solutions for the lack of room dedicated to learning sewing related to the waste management in Dora. In her speech, the Secretary General of UNFD said, "Today we are inaugurating this community center in Dora at the request of local women's association. This space will support," she said, women's empowerment and skill development, particularly in sewing and income generating activities. The donation of a sewing machine and a well mile aim to improve livelihood and strengthen the well-being of families and entire community, she concluded. And now moving on to the international scene in Morocco, prepare a host a multi-phased 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Detail in this report.
Morocco prepares to host a multi-faceted 2025 Africa Cup of Nations with less than a week to go before the kickoff of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Excitement is building throughout the kingdom, where preparations are entering their final stages in the host cities. The facilities are being completed. The organizer of the competition also represents an opportunity for economic growth with the strong mobilizations for the tourism, hospitality, restaurant, and service sectors driven by the expected unexpected influx of fans, official delegations, and media from across the continent and beyond. This momentum is part of a broader vision to promote the attractiveness of Morocco and its region. On the cultural front, the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations is presented as an opportunity to celebrate the richness and diversity of Moroccan heritage. Cultural and festive events will accompany the tournament in several cities, offering visitors an immersion in the kingdom's identity, according to information released by the organizers. As the official launch of the competition approaches, the 2025 AFCON thus appears as a unifying moment intended to strengthen ties between African peoples and to confirm Morocco's position as a host country for a major sporting and cultural event on the continent.
This is it for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.